Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome. This is our master class about purpose. So I'm excited to have you all here. We're going to talk about today what I think is probably one of the most, I will say, charged topics that I hear about from my clients, from my students. And when I say charged, I'm not saying it's going to trigger you. I'm just saying it's something that sits with us in a heavy way that sometimes really gives us a little bit of despair if we feel like we're out of connection with it. It's a pretty powerful topic, and I'm excited to have you all here because I hope that by the end of this, I don't know exactly how long we'll go, hour to an hour and a half, um, that you get some answers. I'm going to actually show you some things to look at in your chart to help you cultivate and excavate your life purpose. So I'm excited to share this information with you. So if you haven't yet, take a moment over in the chat and just say hello and let us know where you're from. Hello, Marie from Sweden. Hello, Zoe. Hello, Julie. Hello, Alyssa from Iowa. Hello, Vanessa from Michigan, Atlanta, Georgia, Oxford, England. Hi, Pete. Hello from Colorado, from LA, Baltimore, Maryland, Santa Fe, Ontario, Canada, Serbia, Romeoville. Where is Romeoville? That sounds like a fun place. Hello from England, Wisconsin. That's where I am today. It's kind of cold here. Calhoun, Georgia, South Carolina, Indiana, California, Denmark again. Hello from Kentucky. That's where I was born. Florida, Pittsburgh, South Spain, again, Wisconsin, Switzerland, Hertfordshire in the UK, Staffordshire in the UK. We got all the shires coming in. Germany, California, Rochester, Mexico, France, East Texas. I love East Texas. I love the bogs in East Texas. Germany, Maryland, Texas, Nevada. Good. Well, just if I missed you for whatever reason, I apologize. There's a lot of people coming in. Oh, Romeoville is in Chicago. All right, sounds good. I like Chicago too. So I am so happy to spend the afternoon or evening or morning with you, wherever you are. So it is just a real pleasure to be here with you, talking about your life purpose. And I want to show you a little bit that you're already living it, even if you think you're not. So let's take a deep breath, because my goal today is, of course, to give you data. I like to give you data, but I also want to spark in you a memory and a reconnection, because I think that when we feel like we've lost our purpose or we haven't found it or it's elusive to us, it really leaves us feeling somewhat unmoored, like we're untethered and we've lost our connection to the purpose and the direction of our life. And I want to really support you today in getting some of that back, if that's how you're feeling. A lot of my clients say to me in the beginning when we start talking about purpose that they kind of know their purpose, but it's either too big, overwhelming, they don't know how to do it. That's another thing I want to address today. And embodying, like really living from that purpose piece, is also a thing that comes up commonly. So if you relate to any of these, you're not alone. Anytime we survey our database, anytime we survey you, our community, and we ask, what is your biggest question about human design? The number one answer is always, how do I use it to find my purpose? How do I find my purpose? So we're going to start today on giving you some information to get you reconnected to that sense of purpose. And to start that, I actually want to move us a little bit out of our brains and into our spirit and into our energy. So if you would, just take a moment with me. Put everything down. Just put everything down. You won't need note paper or anything for this until the end. Let's just be present. Be present to yourself, be present to your body, and just close your eyes and allow your breath to soften. Just breathe. We don't do that enough, I think, sometimes, right? And just let your spine lengthen and let those shoulders relax. Just set those burdens down for a little bit. And I want you to feel the weight of the moment sort of settle around you like a soft cocoon. Soft, spacious, unhurried. And with each breath, just release the noise of the day. Just let it go. Release your expectations. Release any worries that you have that you're going to miss something. Release any questions that you have. Release the pressure to figure it out. You're not here to solve life right now, okay? We're just here to remember. So breathe in, expanding gently. Breathe out and just arrive more fully into your body, into this moment, and into yourself. And let your awareness drift to the space behind your heart. That quiet center where your soul sits patiently, remembering everything that you may have forgotten. And I want you to imagine now that you're traveling backwards in time. Just drifting gently, kind of like being carried on a soft current of light. Just move past the tasks. Move past any labels, any identities, any places where you've internalized some kind of story that maybe isn't really feel true anymore. Move past any achievements or failures in your life. Just go past all of the expectations of others, past the stories you've lived, past the roles you've taken on. Go back to the moment before you arrived into this lifetime. We'll call that the moment of choosing. And here, in this vast field of light and infinite intelligence and possibility, you are pure essence. You are your original spark, untouched, unconditioned, brilliant, and intentional. And I want you to take a moment and feel the clarity and the power that lives in this place. I want you to feel the certainty of choosing to incarnate, to become the embodiment of your spirit in a human story. And I want you to feel the moment where you knew that you came here. You decided to come here with a purpose, with a mission, with something essential to contribute to the unfolding story of humanity. You said yes to all of that. And let yourself feel that yes again, not as pressure, but as truth. Now I want you to begin to move forward through time just slightly until you reach the moment of your birth. Just see yourself as a newborn, small, luminous, full of cosmic promise. Notice how this baby version of you carries the exact same spark you felt before incarnation, the same purpose, the same potential. Nothing was lost. Nothing is diminished. It's only become, in this moment, embodied. And let your heart soften towards this newborn self. and let yourself feel tenderness, awe, and reverence for the life path that lies ahead. This baby was never empty. This baby, you, arrived already knowing, already coded with a purpose. Now imagine time expanding around you in a sacred space. And as you stand in this expanding space from where you are right now, as you're looking at all of the storyline of your incarnation in your life, I want you to see a presence in the distance walking towards you. Your higher self, that version of you who remembers everything, who sees your path with clarity, and who sees your path with compassion, who lives in your heart and who guides you without judgment and without urgency. And just notice how they appear. Pay attention to their energy, their posture, their expression, their vibrational frequency. Just feel it, see it, notice it, sense it in every way. Your higher self is approaching you slowly and warmly, and they're carrying a book, and they place that book in your hands. This book is the record of your purpose, all your agreements, your mission, your encoded instructions for this lifetime. And as you accept this book from your higher self, I want you to feel the weight of it in your hands. Feel the invitation of this book. And take a moment just to hold the book and sense its importance. Feel the resonance between your body, your heart, and the truth contained inside of this book. Your higher self encourages you to open it, and you turn to the first page. And as you look at that page, I want you to take a moment and allow what is written there to reveal itself, not through forcing, but through receiving. Just pay attention to any words, any images, any feelings, any impressions, any symbols. Just let whatever is on this page be exactly what you need to see, and let it be perfectly enough. And I want you just to stay here for a minute or two in silence, reading, receiving, and remembering. And I'm going to give you a 1-minute pause here to just take it all in and read that page. And as you finish taking everything in, know that you can return to that book anytime you need to. If there's more in there that you didn't see, it's okay. You can go back and take in more later. It's always there for you. Your higher self, who's standing there with you, places their hand on your heart. I want you to feel that connection, Feel the promise that you are never alone on this path. You are guided. You are supported. You are aligned with something bigger than your mind can hold. And when you're ready, return to your present day self, bringing the essence of what you received into this moment. Let it settle in your body. Let it settle in your breath, in your awareness. Take a nice, long, deep inhale, and then exhale. And as you exhale, gently open your eyes. And I want you just to take a moment, and you can do this in chat or you can do this in your private notes, but I want you just to write down everything that you remember from the book. What impressions did you have? What images did you see? What words, what sentences, what symbols, what visions, instructions, and feelings did you have? Write without editing and evaluating. Even if you didn't see anything, there's a reason for that, and we'll talk through that. Let your soul speak directly to the page. What did it mean to you? You are remembering who you came here to be. You are remembering your path. And I love how you guys are putting what you saw in the chat. It is not unusual. Some of you are posting that you didn't see anything and you were like trying. That's not unusual. There's a reason for that sometimes. And sometimes the reason is you get to decide. And sometimes there are other reasons. And we'll talk a little bit about that today. Okay. So, all right. I'm going to give you just about 30 more seconds. And remember, you can come back to that image and that vision anytime you choose. So if you feel like you needed to sit and read a little bit longer, you can go back. Okay. Your brain is a storyteller. And if you had the experience where you couldn't see anything or the book disappeared, that's a story. There's something in that message for you. So I'm inviting you to not take that experience absolutely literally. You're being given a message. If it doesn't show up the way you thought, or if it's not showing up the way you imagined it should or it could, there's a message in that for you. So embrace that. Okay. All right. I'm going to get us started with our sharing today and bring us kind of back into our bodies and back into learning a little bit more, untangling, unraveling, interpreting, exploring everything that you just experienced, even if it was a blank page. All right, so let's start first with just a little bit of introduction. So I started without starting formally, right? So if I have not had the privilege of meeting you yet, my name is Dr. Karen Parker. I'm the founder and creator of Quantum Human Design and the Quantum Alignment System. I am the author of multiple best-selling books. I'm the world's top selling human design author. I have a PhD in integrative medicine. I have been certified in the emotional freedom techniques and a practitioner since 2000. I've been a life coach since 1998. I studied with and worked for the founder of traditional human design, Ra Uru Hu. I've been teaching human design since 1999. I'm a Quantum University guest lecturer, a TEDx presenter. I'm the host of the Quantum Revolution podcast, and I am an Omega Institute Shift Network and Humanities Team faculty member. And I am very honored to be here with you today. So thank you for joining me. So we started already with a story, and I brought you into this place with the story I shared with you, or the visualization that we did, into this place where you saw at the moment of your birth that you were the full embodiment of the spark, the essence of your soul, coming into this beautiful human story. And I don't know if any of you have ever had the privilege of being there when a baby is born, either your own or I got to see two of my three grandchildren being born. Peak moment in my life. You know, when you look at these little beings just as they emerge, you can tell like they're connected to the cosmos in the most incredibly extraordinary way, right? And that's where all of us start. That's where all of us start. But somewhere along the way, we forget, right? And life starts to feel challenging. We start to feel untethered, disconnected, confused. That's something people say a lot to me. I'm confused about my purpose, or I don't know what my purpose is. We start to struggle sometimes and bump up against those places where we're being told it's not okay or safe for us to be who we are and how we are. We start living out dynamics sometimes that we learn from our families, from society, from our lived experiences, even from our ancestral programming, and we forget who we are. We forget that spark. So as I said, today my goal is to at least get you back to a place where we can begin to connect with and rekindle that essential spark within you. So let's talk about what is life purpose. Because when we start talking about life purpose, and you all can post in chat, I'd love to see what you think. When we start talking about life purpose, we have a lot of different definitions of what is your life purpose. And for a lot of us, our life purpose is oftentimes this thing we have to do, this thing we have to, I don't know, get a job doing, right? We say, do what you love and the money will follow. Or we have books like, What Color is Your Parachute? And we think, oh, if I find my purpose, I'll find my right work and it'll all be integrated perfectly, la, 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 la. And I'll never have, being facetious a little bit, I'll never have a challenge again. And everything will be effortless and easy. And I want to lovingly and gently say, maybe, but maybe not, right? Maybe not. So I like to think of your purpose as this, and it's a little bit of a long definition, so bear with me. Your life purpose is not a single mission handed to you at birth, nor is it a fixed destiny that you have to correctly decode in order to not be a failure. The purpose that you are embodying is the continual process of becoming who you truly are. It's the unfolding expression of your authentic self, your gifts, your voice, your values, your experiences, and the contribution your presence naturally makes to the world when you stop shrinking, shape-shifting, or abandoning yourself. Purpose lives inside the relationship between your inner alignment and how you show up for the world. And it's not static, it's dynamic. It evolves as you grow, as you heal, as you decondition, as you remember the truth of who you are. As I said, it's not static. It's not this one like thing that you are. It's alive, it's adaptive, and intimately connected to your ongoing journey of meaning. Purpose is not something we invent or impose upon life through willpower, which is something we really are conditioned to do. We think we have to will our way through our purpose. Rather, purpose reveals itself through our responsibility to respond to life, no matter what your human design type, okay? Through the choices that we make, through the challenges that we face, the love we offer, and the meaning we create, we are called to discern what is life asking of us. And we answer that call not through perfection, but through presence. Life purpose, then, is a sacred dialogue between your soul's intention and your lived choices. It's the embodiment of meaning in motion. You don't achieve it, you participate with it. And you can't fail. You can't fail your purpose unless you forget who you are. If you allow yourself to be seduced by what the world tells you you should be, instead of connecting with what your heart knows you are, then we fail. But even that's not really a failure. Usually that involves some kind of event that allows us to remember. But we're going to try to circumvent that event, because usually that event can be kind of disruptive, and start claiming our purpose, start embodying our purpose today. All right. So my goal, as I said today, is to reconnect you with your life purpose And we're going to talk a little bit about your life purpose and the story that you were born to fulfill. And I'm going to give you some key storytelling elements today to help you connect with your life purpose. If you have forgotten your life purpose, here are 7 symptoms, 7 things that you might be experiencing that are going to let you know that maybe you've forgotten a little bit of who you are. The first symptom, and this is the one that I get the most. People tell me they are confused or uncertain about their purpose. And I want to lovingly and gently say, sometimes that's a defense strategy. Sometimes we forget our purpose because we feel like maybe it's impossible. In a lot of cases, and I find this so fascinating, a lot of times when I find that people say, I'm confused about my purpose, what's really underneath is that they think my purpose is way too big and I have no clue how to manifest it. So I'm going to pretend like I've forgotten it or I'm confused by it. Okay, so when that happens, sometimes you feel foggy about it. Sometimes it's hard to make decisions for it. It's not because there's no options, it's because you have gotten disconnected from your internal compass guiding you forward. And sometimes that's a safety strategy because somewhere along the way you internalize that it might be impossible, it's too big, you don't deserve it, all the things that we sometimes incorporate in our fear or our awe. And there's a difference between fear and awe of our purpose. And sometimes we get in awe of our purpose and we interpret that as fear. The second symptom of forgetting your life purpose is that you start to feel like you're behind or off track. Especially like when we get to be my age, I'm 60, right? You start to feel like, oh, I'm behind, right? I'm failing at life. You might feel like everybody else knows what they're doing except for you, but that's not a failure. It's just a sign that you've drifted from your authentic narrative and that you're measuring yourself against external expectations rather than from internal alignment. The third one, and this is a societal issue, right? We believe that our purpose is something that we have to do rather than someone that we have to become. Purpose then becomes a task or an assignment or a job or an achievement instead of an evolving expression of the authentic self. And this creates pressure. It creates performance anxiety, right? It creates perfectionism until fulfillment. We think, oh, I can't do my purpose until I get it right. You're always evolving. How are you going to get it right? It's always growing, right? Sometimes we've forgotten our purpose and it manifests ultimately as exhaustion or burnout because we're following all the rules that society has told us that we have to do. We've done everything right? And then we orient ourselves around those external expectations and rewards instead of from alignment. And what we end up doing is whatever we end up doing is effort that doesn't replenish us, effort that causes us to stray from that path. And here's the interesting thing about purpose. I have seen over the years in coaching thousands of people that when we get off track with our purpose, think about your purpose as being kind of a nice long straight road, and you can walk along that road and it's a pretty enjoyable stroll. We start to get off that road. If you start to get off the purpose path, that path is lined with barbed wire, and we start to get stuck and hung up in the fence. And then we spend all of our energy fighting and trying to get unstuck instead of getting back onto the path. And so we put a lot of effort into trying to be something we're not, a lot of effort into walking on a road that's not ours to walk on. And then we burn ourselves out because our life lacks meaning. The fifth symptom is you feel disconnected from your desires, your passions, and your imagination. You stop dreaming, you stop wanting, or you convince yourself that you're fine. You're fine with doing less than what makes your soul sing, right? We settle for mediocrity, and numbness replaces inspiration and motivation We procrastinate, right? And then last but not least, I guess that's not last. We over rely on external validation for direction, right? We look to others, we look to authority figures, we look to experts, we start measuring that whole success thing, like I'll be successful when I have X number of dollars in the bank, or I'll be successful in following my mission when I am speaking to thousands of people in at Red Rock in Colorado, right? We start to that feedback starts, or that craving of that feedback starts to become fuel instead of the purpose itself. And then lastly, we shrink, we shapeshift. And as I said, we abandon parts of ourselves to stay safe or to avoid judgment or to risk, to avoid risking that we'll lose the people we love or we'll lose our value. If we go do that thing, be that thing, I don't want to say do, be that thing that is the embodiment of our unique gifts, of our authentic self. And I want to just say that when we fail to do that, it's not just us individually that's losing on a personal level. It's the world losing access to what only you can create. So we all miss out, right? It's like we're all singing a signature frequency that we're born with. And when we decide, oh, I should play a different instrument and sing a different song because that's what's going to get me the recognition, or that's what's going to get me the rewards, or that's what's safe to do. When we try to sing a different song than the one we're born to sing, it creates dissonance in the cosmic orchestra. And it doesn't feel good, right? It's like being the squeaky bassoon in the back of the orchestra. And the thing is, when we start to actually sing our song, it's like we move up into first chair in the orchestra. And from that place, our song becomes not only the embodiment of who we are, and we get to throw out, into the world, all that resonance and harmony, but it becomes a frequency that then lifts everyone else around us up into their natural frequency. So I'm not going to go too deep in this model, but I just want to show this to you because sometimes people say, well, what happens when you live your purpose? Why is it so important? Well, if you look at this tree and you see the top of the tree is purpose. So when we live true to our purpose, we have vision. We know what we want. We have vision that leads us forward. We're leaders. We create from the heart. We approach the world through the lens of curiosity instead of the need to be right, which diminishes polarity, and not only in our own lives, but in our collective lives. We become more connected in every way, including in our relationships. We become embodied and we experience greater states of vitality and aliveness. We're better able to collaborate and consequently create more. We operate with compassion, which, compassion isn't just a feeling and caring for others. It's actually the ability to use your life as a resource for others. We step into a state of what I call quantum creativity, meaning our capacity to manifest amplifies when we're living true to our purpose. We're able to self-express. We're able to cultivate. I put the word will here, but I'm not talking about it in willpower terms. I'm talking about it in the context of we begin to cultivate the will, the energy, the motivation, and the drive, and actually follow through and do the things we need to do to move ourselves forward in alignment with our authentic selves. And we build on a quantum level fields of information that not only shift our own personal life, but can shift the world around us. All of that is rooted in resilience. And resilience comes from having a high sense of self-love, having a high sense of self-worth, feeling empowered, being decisive, tapping into courage, trusting yourself, accessing the full capacity of your life force energy, being relentlessly authentic, and knowing how to regulate your emotional frequencies so that you are intentionally creating. And none of that happens. The roots of purpose don't support us if we are not being true to who we are. In human design, we talk about it through this lens. This is a storytelling model that we use. Now, I'm going to break this down for you. And if you're kind of new to human design, I want you to focus on two things. And I'll tell you about those in just a second. But today we're going to jump ahead a little bit. We're going to do some work today with what is oftentimes the sexier part of the chart. It's the part that people always want to talk about. We're going to look at gates today. But your chart, and I want you to make sure you have your chart handy because we're going to be working with it in just a minute. Your chart is a storytelling tool. It's really just a systematic way to enter into your narrative, the story you're telling about who you are and how you are, and in a very intentional, as I said, very systematic way, start taking apart all the layers and the levels of your story so that you can start to take back control over that story and bring it back into harmony with your signature frequency. So down at the bottom of this pyramid, and this is actually not in your chart, at the bottom of this pyramid is resiliency. that's the goal. When you go get a human design reading, or you study human design, or you take a human design class, or you go read any of my books or anybody else's books, what you're really seeking is resiliency. And that is, we just looked at that. That's lovability, self-worth, empowerment, decisiveness, courage, self-trust, vitality, authenticity, emotional wisdom. Those are the 9 base archetypes, or the 9 core definitions of resiliency. And our goal in living true to who we are is to bring ourselves back into harmony with those 9 base archetypes. As I said, those don't show up in your chart, but they are integrated in all the different parts of your chart. And each one of us has a different curriculum based on our unique chart that oftentimes has a healing path or a journey to bring us back into harmony with a specific handful of resiliency keys. And most of us, if not all of us, are to a certain degree working on learning how to love ourselves and value ourselves. Every story has a main character. The main character in your story is your type. So when you learn about your type and you study your type and you learn about strategy and how to make decisions for your type and your emotional theme and ultimately the purpose for your type and how your type works and how your type relates, you're healing, you're recovering and taking back control over your main character. In human design, if you are brand new to human design, that is the only thing you really need to focus on, plus what's called your authority in your chart. Because if you follow your main character, if you're true to your main character, and you really amplify and embody the energy of your main character, all these other pieces at the top of this pyramid fall into place naturally. Okay? So your main character is part of what we have to take back sovereignty over and recover. There's a healing path in your human design. So in order for us to become more resilient and make a different set of choices, we have to get back in the body. We have to get back into our body. What happens a lot of times is we are born, go back to that image of that beautiful baby, right? We're born and we're born into this body that is the perfect compass. It lets us know on a feeling sensual level, what does right feel like in my body and what does not right feel like in my body. And if we're not listening to those cues, if we're ignoring our body and we're starting to make decisions from expectations, familial expectations, societal expectations, from our ancestral reactive patterns, from our imprinting, from our family, from our family patterns, instead of going, up here, there's all this noise, down here, this is what's happening in my body. And it's telling me, yeah, that sounds great, but it doesn't feel right. And I need to follow what feels right for me. And so the authority in your chart is giving you the healing path combined with the decision-making strategy for your type, is giving you the healing path back to your body, reconnecting you with that compass. And certainly I would say, if you're feeling like, I don't know what my purpose is, or if you got a blank page in your journey when you were looking at the book, or if you couldn't see what you needed to see, it might be that what your book is telling you is, before you can know what's next, you have to get back into that body and really build or rebuild a trusting relationship with this visceral physical compass. That is, if you are new to human design, that is the only thing you need to know in the beginning. That is the only thing you need to know. The profile in your chart represents characteristics or personality quirks of your main character. It tells you a little bit more about, how does this main character experience the world? How do they learn? How do they relate? What are they here to give to the world? It tells us a little bit more about purpose. Every good story has what we call a sacred flaw. Your main character is actually the hero in your story, but your main character can't become the hero until they're tested. They have to go on quests. They have to have adventures. And in that quest or on those adventures, they oftentimes really have to confront not so much the challenges of the outside world, as much as they have to confront the challenge of their inside world. Every chart has coded into it what we call sacred flaws, conundrums, challenging aspects, interesting adventures and quests coded in that information in that chart that give you vital cues and clues about what you need to confront and deal with and mature through in order for you to embody your purpose, embody your wisdom, so that you can take what you learn from that quest, what you've learned on that adventure, and bring it back to your village, to your community, to the people in your life, so that you can not only become the hero in your own story, but ultimately become the savior in others. So we're going to talk a little bit about life purpose in the chart. Now, I'm going to go through this relatively quickly. In the chat, Team Quantum is going to give you a pretty meaty handout that's going to be kind of a Gates cheat sheet. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a cheat sheet that you can refer to. And I'm going to tell you that what we're going to cover in the next few slides is really not going to necessarily be something that you're going to get right now that you can figure out off the top of your head. I'm going to invite you into a storytelling homework assignment. And it's going to be an invitation for you to stretch yourself and contemplate and work with some of these themes, because that's really how the wisdom of the chart reveals itself. It's not something you're going to grok in this nanosecond. You're going to want to probably sit with this and be in communion with these themes. I also want to let you know that after this call, I'm actually going to go into our circle community, and Team Quantum can post the link to that too. And in our community space in there, they'll tell you exactly where to go. I'm going to be there live for an hour after this call is over, and I'll answer any questions you might have about gates or anything else in your chart as you try to do the work that I'm going to invite you to participate and play with, especially at this time, right? We're in this massive retrograde cycle. It's such a good time to do this work right now. So your chart holds a code for your life purpose. Now, I want to start by saying we're going to pull some elements out that are going to be directive, that are going to help you really see the chart in a new way. But every element in the chart is your life purpose, because ultimately your life purpose isn't really the chart, it's you. It's all of you and all of your story, including your level of resilience, your main character, your decision-making energy, your authority, your connection to your body, what you're here to do, who you're here to be. But really, 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 you're not here to do anything that doesn't first flow from who you be. Because your purpose, as I said earlier, is not what you do, it's how you be and who you be. And when you are deeply connected to that piece, the rest of the doing part unfolds naturally. And so while we are sort of taking our little magnifying glass and looking at some key elements in the chart and things that I personally look at when I do a reading, when I talk about life purpose in the chart, or any of our quantum human design specialists do. By the way, if you want a reading, we'll post the link to our specialists as well, because we've trained really amazing people. Even though I'm giving you a little bit of detail about what to look for in your chart, your whole chart is part of your purpose, your whole story, including the things that are not on your chart, your lived experiences, the things you are in, you idolize and bring you joy and passion, your lived experiences. There's more to your purpose than just the chart. But because we're going to talk about gates and everybody loves that, we're going to do some fun stuff, and it might require of you to do a little bit of playing and storytelling and crafting your own version of your purpose. So in your chart, when you look at your chart, you will see on your chart what is called your incarnation cross. So your incarnation cross will have a fancy name. If you got your human design chart from our quantum human design software, which you can get it, if you don't have it, it's freehumandesignchart.com. If you go to our software, we'll give you the quantum names, but you will have on your chart one or two incarnation cross names. One might be a traditional human design name, and one might be a quantum human design name. Your incarnation cross is configured from the top two right numbers. That's your soul purpose, sun gate and earth gate. That's the numbers in maroon on this image. And the top two left numbers. Those are the top two numbers in gold. So these four gates, so think of it this way. When we look at planetary positions in the chart, we are, think of a planet as being like a flashlight. Every planet is like a cosmic flashlight, At the moment of your birth, that planet is shining its light on a specific archetypal theme. And it's shining its light on a gate. Okay, so at the moment of your birth, that planet is shining a light on that gate. Now that planet has its own theme. Each of the planets in the chart have their own theme. So the sun is the theme of what you're here to put out into the world, what you're here to give the world. So your sun, at the moment of your birth, the sun is highlighting a gate, and that's telling you what you're here to give the world. Now that happens twice in human design because we have 2 birthdays in human design. We have our life purpose birthday that happens 88 astrological degrees before we're born, or about 3 months before we're born. That's the numbers. Those are the numbers in the gold on the left. And we have a soul purpose birthday. That's your actual physical birthday. Those are the numbers on your right. Those are not 2 parts of your chart that should be taken apart. You don't need to take them apart. They work together, sometimes in harmony, sometimes they're part of your sacred flaw, and you have to figure out how to work with those 2 pieces. But just to keep it simple, think of it like this. You have a body with a human story. Your soul comes in and takes up residency in the body over the course of your life. And that's kind of how these 2 work together. So your incarnation cross is a combination of your soul purpose sun, your soul purpose earth, whatever's in the earth, that's the circle with the plus sign in it. That indicates energy that grounds you. So your earth is telling you these are the 2 themes. In this case, it's the 5 and the 64. These are 2 themes that you need to pay attention to in order to ground yourself or to stay grounded. That's often a really important thing to pay attention to if you lose motivation and drive. You want to look at your earth, because what themes are being highlighted by your earth will often be themes that need to be in place for you to feel secure and grounded. All right. So that's how we configure the incarnation cross. There's a bunch of them. There's hundreds of them, literally. Okay. So there's, I guess, 6 times 3, 64 times 3 incarnation crosses, plus or minus. I'm not going to do math, but there's a lot. Right. So you have all these incarnation crosses, and that incarnation cross represents about 70% of the theme of your chart. So think of it like this. It's about 70% of the major personal theme of your chart. Part of your purpose, the soul outline or the plot outline for your purpose, lives in these 4 gates. I'm going to show you what to do with those in a minute, so don't panic. When I'm looking at life purpose, and we're not going to do this together today, but I'm just showing you this. When I'm looking at life purpose, I'm looking at Chiron. I always look at Chiron. Not everybody does, and sometimes that's not on a chart depending on where you get your software done, or where you get your chart run. But I always look at this Chiron because Chiron represents part of your life and spiritual purpose, and it's oftentimes a place where we have a spiritual challenge. It's something we have to grow through anytime we up level in any kind of growth cycle. Chiron is kind of the gift that keeps on giving. It's that theme that we keep playing with and growing through over and over and over again in our life. The next thing I always look at when I look at what might be holding me back from living my purpose, I always go to Saturn. Whatever gates Saturn is highlighting are going to tell you what you're here to learn or what you need to go through or grow through in order to be mature and in order to reap the rewards available to you as part of your life. And those rewards are coded in Jupiter. So whatever gates are being highlighted by Jupiter are the places where your blessings live. So this person has the gate 46 in Jupiter and the gate 18. So one of the pathways to this person's blessings is in their ability to break down and analyze patterns and correct things, and oftentimes correct things in the body or bring people towards higher states of healing. So this person has the potential to be a healer or have the theme of healing as part of their source of blessings. The moon is what drives us. It tells us a lot about why do we want to do what we want to do. And oftentimes, again, if we lose motivation, it's always good to go look at what is the moon highlighting, because the moon will tell you a lot about what drives you. Neptune is again part of our spiritual purpose. Sometimes it's what feels veiled to us. It takes us a while to sort of penetrate the themes of Neptune. And Neptune will oftentimes reveal to us our spiritual work or our spiritual purpose, that in conjunction with Chiron as well. The nodes, we can look at the nodes. And again, if you go back and watch the replays, you can go through this with the replays, and you've got the gates cheat sheet, so you can start looking at what planets are highlighting the gates, and you've got access to all the gates in the handout that I gave you. I'm going to bring you back to the Incarnation Cross in a minute, but I'm just showing you this because some of you might want to leap ahead and go deeper with this exercise. But for all intents and purposes, today we're going to work on the Incarnation Cross. The nodes are sort of the themes of the youth of your life. The nodes go from birth to age 40. That's the south node. That's the bottom one that looks like a horseshoe. The north node, which looks like an upside down horseshoe, is the mature theme, the breathing out phase that happens after the age of 40. So these tell you kind of where you're starting and where you're supposed to be heading. They're kind of the plot outline of the whole story. And we can put all of these together and get a really good snapshot on your core purpose in conjunction with your Incarnation Cross. So let's look at the Incarnation Cross. I'm going to give you an opportunity now to work through your Incarnation Cross. And as I said, when we work through the Incarnation Cross, you can go to Circle and work through this on Circle for the next hour, and I'll be there when we're done here. So let's go back to this Incarnation Cross. And this Incarnation Cross in traditional human design is called the right angle cross. That's what RAX stands for. LAX is left angle cross, and juxtaposition is the third kind of profile. Don't worry about that. I'm just explaining it for the first line profiles. So let's talk about the right angle cross of consciousness. That's the traditional human design name. In quantum human design, this is called the right angle cross of the quantum pulse. So get out your human design chart and see if you can find the human design name of your cross. I renamed these crosses. It was the first thing I renamed because I really didn't like the traditional human design names. Some of them are great, and some of them, they were kind of depressing. So I changed them. Remember that your Incarnation Cross is comprised of these 4 gates. So we're going to go through these 4 gates. I'm going to give you an example. We're going to go through this chart as an example, but I want you to kind of follow along with your own chart. So the first thing that I want you to pay attention to is over on the right-hand side, find your soul purpose sun. Sometimes, depending on what software you're using, that's called the conscious side of the chart. Or sometimes that's called, gosh, I forgot now what it's called. Conscious personality, the personality part of your chart, which is, I think, a confusing name too. So if you have a different chart from a different software, that might say personality at the top, or it might say conscious at the top. In this chart, we're going to look at it through the lens of my software. This is where we call this is on the soul purpose side of the chart. The sun, which is the circle with the dot, is highlighting the gate 35. Now, if you're only going to do this exercise for one gate position, do it for your conscious sun or your soul purpose sun or your personality sun, this gate. Because really, when we look at the chart and we look at all these gates, it's kind of like the whole chart flows into a funnel. And the bottom of the funnel is that sun gate. So really everything in this chart is pushing through the gate 35. Okay, so everything in the chart pushes through this gate 35. And this gate 35 in this chart is a very big theme. So if you want to really find, like, what is my core sacred flaw? Go find the top sun position in your chart. Go find what gate it's in. And then go look at what is that gate about, because that's going to tell you a lot about what are you here to mature through, what are you here to grow through, what are you here to ultimately give back, because remember, it's the sun. The sun is about what are you here to give the world, what are you here to give back to the world. So this person has the gate 35 as part of that energy. Okay, when we look at the gate 35 in traditional human design, this is called the gate of change. In quantum human design, we call this the gate of experience. This gate is all about the potential for wisdom that comes from having had a lot of experiences. Okay, so this is the ability to share knowledge and information that's gained from all of your life experiences. So this is a person that's here to really talk about and share with the world what they've learned from their life experiences. Okay, they are a resource to other people because they are here to speak and share and give to the world stories from their experiences in the world. Now, every theme in the chart, including the gates, appears on a spectrum in our lives. So every theme has a high expression, and that's the ability to share knowledge gleaned from experience. And every gate has a shadow, and that's on your worksheet, on your gate cheat sheet that I gave you. And the shadow of this gate 35 is that the gate 35 here can be very jaded, right? They don't want to share. They don't want to try anything new. They've been there, done that, and they don't really want to do anything else, right? That's the shadow of this 35 energy. And so you want to look at not only what does the gate mean, but you also want to look at what's the shadow, because that's going to tell you a lot about what do you have to work with as part of the sacred flaw in your story so that your hero can really go through this challenge and ultimately emerge wise and embodied and be able to take that energy and then give it back to the world from a self-transcendent place. So the soul purpose here, if we were going to break this down and look at the shadows, the conditioned expression of the gate 35, if somebody was really not working their purpose, and when I say working their purpose, I mean being their purpose, not doing work, but being their purpose, they might experience being bored with life, to let the boredom of life cause them to settle for a life that never challenges the status quo, right? They might settle for mediocrity. The lesson or the challenge, here's the quest. By the way, if you want more depth than what's in the handout that I gave you, all of this information comes from the Encyclopedia of Quantum Human Design. So the lesson and the challenge here is to not let experience lead to feeling jaded or bored, to have the courage to share what you know from your experience, to know which experiences are worth participating in, and to let your natural ability to become accomplished at anything keep you from being enthusiastic about learning something new, and to embrace it even though you know how to know you don't know everything, right? That sounds like a pretty good prescription for a story right there. The quantum expression, if you evolve this energy, becomes the ability to know which experiences are worthy and worthwhile, to partake in the right experience, and to share your knowledge from the experience for the sake of changing the story of what's possible in the world. So this person is designed to teach and talk about their experiences because their story, the story of what they've gone through, the story of what they've experienced, the story of what they're here to share, has the possibility of changing the story of what's possible for others. That's the gift the hero brings back in this story. Now, if we go over to the unconscious, remember that there are 4 numbers. They're at the top of this slide. The unconscious sun, that's the other thing this person's here to give to the world, is in the gate 63, which in traditional human design is called the gate of doubt, and in quantum human design is called the gate of curiosity. And so in the shadow, this can show up as doubt and suspicion and inadequacy. And in the highest expression, this shows up as the ability to use questioning and curiosity to stimulate the dreams of new possibilities and potentials, and a recognition that thoughts that inspire the question of what need to happen make an idea a reality. Okay, so this is the ability to reframe how people think and see the world, and to use your own thinking to shift and dream up new possibilities and potentials. So these 2 energies play together in terms of the gifts, and I'll tell you what that means in a second. So the next gate we're going to look at is the gate 5. That's the earth. That's what this person needs to feel grounded, right? This person needs the gate 5 to feel grounded. Well, the gate 5 is where rhythm and consistency lives. So if this person didn't have consistent rhythms, if they didn't have consistent habits and patterns, they might feel really disconnected from their purpose. So take a moment and look at, where's your earth? What gate is your earth highlighting? and start thinking about, this is an energy that you need to have in place, because if you don't have this energy in your life, it might be keeping you from living your purpose. So in the highest expression, this is the ability to stay consistent with habits and choices that bring you closer to living true to who you are through alignment and through not overusing willpower. Okay? The last gate of these 4 gates that are here together is the gate 64. In traditional human design, that's called the gate of confusion. In quantum human design, we call this the gate of divine transference. This is a place where we get downloads. This is a place where we plug directly into the quantum pulse. That's why we call it the incarnation cross of the quantum pulse, right? You connect directly to the quantum field here. And in the shadow, this feels like the pressure to figure things out. This can be despair if you get a good idea and you don't know how to do it, right? And it can make you feel inadequate or ungrounded if you don't know how to turn your ideas into reality. The challenge is to not let big ideas overwhelm you. And the gift is the ability to receive a big idea and to serve the idea by giving it your imagination and attention through dreaming. To trust that you'll know how to implement the idea if it's yours to make manifest, and to hold the energy of an idea for the world. So again, this is a grounding energy. So this person is grounded in dreaming. And because we see that it's matched on the other side with the gate 5, this is a person who needs to have consistent patterns and habits in their life where they dream. So I would say this is a person that needs a practice like meditation or yoga or walking outside, something that gives them the consistency and the habits that supports them in connecting to higher ways of knowing, to source, if you want to call it that. So if we put all of that together, I'm going to read this to you out of the encyclopedia, but what you're going to do, so I've actually given you a little bit of a template here. I want you to write your own version, your own story of what does your incarnation cross mean, because that's going to give you a lot of information about your purpose. It's going to give you a lot of information about what you need to pay attention to embodying, what ideas and thoughts and archetypes do you need to pay attention to embodying in your life story. So the incarnation cross here of the quantum pulse in quantum human design, the purpose is to explore, experiment with, and experience. That's the gate 35. The habits and rhythms necessary to implement new ideas and possibilities. So here we have, okay, I'm going to break it down. To explore and experiment with and experience the habits and rhythms necessary. That's the 5. To implement new ideas. That's the 63. Right? And possibilities. That's the 64. That's a 1-sentence synthesis of these energies together. Now, this is the trickiest part of putting your incarnation cross together. It's tricky to put all this together into your own story, but it's an incredibly worthwhile endeavor, because when you write this story for yourself, when you start to see the relationships, and I said I gave you a template in there for you to work with, when you start to see how this plays together, you're going to start to understand who you're here to be and what you need to pay attention to not just know your purpose, but to actually live your purpose. Okay, so as I said, get started on this. For the next hour, I'm going to be in our circle community helping you, answering any questions you might have about gates. And as you can see, it's not, it feels complicated. It's not. It's just stretching you into a creative exercise that you're going to define ultimately for yourself. When people come to me, and as I said at the beginning, and we want to learn about their purpose, people have the same question. I hear this question all the time. What is my purpose? How do I do my purpose? Am I on track? Am I living the life I'm supposed to live? And I want you to know that your purpose isn't hiding anywhere out there. It's not something you have to chase. It's not something you have to prove. It's not something that you measure against anyone else. It's alive in you. And if you're struggling to connect with it, you're probably struggling with those 7 things I listed earlier, including connecting with your dreams and making your dreams come true. So I've created a brand new Human Design Essentials program called Live Your Purpose. And this is for you whether you're feeling stuck or burned out or simply know that you're meant for more and you can feel it, taste it, smell it, but you don't quite know how to tap into it. This program is an entry point to a more meaningful, satisfying, and aligned life. You're going to learn in this program that purpose isn't about what you do, it's about who you are being. And you're going to learn to recognize ways that you've already been living your purpose, because you are, I promise you, even in the ordinary moments. You're going to reconnect with that inner compass that is your body, the wisdom that always knows when you are or when you're off track. It's going to align you with the choices that really matter to you instead of what the world is telling you should matter. It's going to help you sustain your passion without burning out. And we're going to be using your human design chart as a supportive map to help you embody and define your purpose. Okay? So the program is it's a 7-class program. It's live. It's taught live. I will teach you live. It's 60 to 90-minute sessions, mostly 90-minute sessions where we teach. We go through guided explorations. We do community sharing. You're going to get reflection assignments, journaling prompts to deepen your practice between sessions. You're going to access a supportive community forum to share insights and be witnessed on your journey. And you're going to actually write your own purpose integration map that you'll create over time to help move you forward in that full embodiment of your purpose and how to really learn for yourself how to define your purpose for yourself and to live your purpose for yourself. So this program is regularly $497. I'm giving it to you because I really want you need this information. You need this information because you need to be connected to that compass in a time like this, when we need to have future awareness, when we need to be facile and be able to change and shift, when we need to be able to make decisions in alignment with what's truth for us. You have to know your purpose. So I'm giving you 50% off. You can use the code. We're going to put the registration link in the chat. The first session starts on December the 14th. And as I said, I'm giving you a 50% savings. I really want to encourage you to join us. Come be with us. Come look at how can you fulfill your purpose. I know that I've thrown a lot at you. I know that this is a really big assignment for you to do. And that's just one of the assignments we're going to be working on in the Life Purpose program. Sit with it. Think about it. Ruminate on it. Look at your chart. Speak to those gates. Speak to the sun and the earth. Literally go outside and talk to the sun, talk to the earth, ask for the information that you have. Remember, we did at the very beginning that connection to your higher self. Find that connection to your higher self and ask, stay in communion with that higher self, because you are always supported in fulfilling your purpose. So all of this, again, will be replayed. If you want to go back and watch the replay, join me in Circle. I'm going to be in Circle. All of the programs in the training will have replays as well. Please take good care of yourselves. Please nurture yourselves. Please honor the story that only you can fulfill. You came here for a very special reason, and you are literally the only person in the entire cosmos that can do that story. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. Take good care of yourselves. Post your homework in our Circle community. I want to see what you come up with. I want to see your story. And as I said, join me in Circle. I'll be in there for the next hour. I'll help you with any gates and understanding anything. And I'll see you in there. Thank you for joining me. And thank you, Team Quantum, for posting everything all the time.